The predator hatchling was a shadow of what it should have been. It was smaller than any cub of its kind. Its scales were dull, and its breathing was so shallow you had to strain to see its chest move. Its mother, a fierce hunter, had been killed in a tragic accident, leaving this tiny predator alone, vulnerable, and completely unwilling to eat. The alien caretakers at the research station were at their wits' end. They had tried everything: synthetic blood, protein supplements, even the tantalizing sense of its natural prey. But the little cub refused to open its mouth. With every passing hour, its life force seemed to fade. Most of the staff had already given up, accepting the inevitable. This species was known for its fierce pride and independence. To force-feed it would be an insult, a violation of its very being. But humans, as is often the case, saw the situation from a different angle. Dr. Elena Voss was the first to notice something everyone else had missed. The cub didn't react to food, but it did react to gestures and sounds. When a tray of blood was waved in its face, it flinched away. But when someone hummed a soft tune or gently touched its forehead, its ears perked up. "It's not starving," she whispered to herself. "It's scared and lonely." Elena had grown up on Earth, surrounded by animals. She knew, deep in her bones, that fear and grief could be more powerful than hunger. While the alien staff debated the ethics of euthanizing the cub, Elena devised her own plan. She started by just sitting quietly outside its containment area, speaking in low, soothing tones. She let the cub see her, day after day, without making any sudden moves or demands. And slowly, a change began. The cub's breathing steadied. Its large, golden eyes started to follow her movements with a glimmer of curiosity. Then came the breakthrough. During one of her quiet sessions, she held out a vial of blood. She didn't force it, didn't push it forward. She just placed it nearby. Then, she began to tap her fingers rhythmically against the glass. The cub watched her, its gaze intense, for several long, tense moments. Then, almost too quick to see, it darted its head forward and took a single, tentative lick. Elena froze, her heart pounding in her chest. The cub pulled back, uncertain, then tried again. Encouraged, she kept up the gentle tapping and humming. By the next day, the cub was drinking from the vial all on its own. Its scales began to regain their natural sheen, and its breaths grew deeper and stronger. Elena celebrated quietly, a smile of relief on her face. The other staff members watched in silent awe. No one had expected a human approach so patient, so intuitive to succeed, where advanced technology and alien expertise had utterly failed. Weeks turned into months, and the cub, under Elena's watchful care, grew strong. It learned to trust her, following the motion of her hand and responding to the sound of her voice. The station's security officers were wary. Predators were apex hunters. Even as they warned Elena repeatedly that she was taking a massive risk. But she had learned to read the cub's every mood, every subtle gesture, the twitch of its ears, the flare of its nostrils. She wasn't just a caretaker anymore. She had become its chosen companion. One evening, a group of visiting dignitaries toured the station. As they passed the containment area, they all froze in their tracks. There was the cub, now nearly half its adult size, standing alert, but perfectly calm. It leaned in and brushed its head against Elena's leg, a rare and profound display of affection. For the aliens, this was unthinkable. A predator showing something akin to submission to a human. But Elena didn't flinch. She simply reached down and stroked the cub's forehead. Human. She saved it, one of the officials murmured, his voice filled with disbelief. She understands it. Elena smiled. Not just understands it, she replied softly. I let it make its own choice. In that moment, everyone on that station witnessed something truly remarkable. The predator cub, once near death, hostile and alone, was now alive and thriving. All because a human had seen not just a dangerous animal, but a creature consumed by fear, grief, and a need for trust. The aliens, who had always regarded humans as a fragile, if resilient, species, had a sudden realization. Humans didn't just adapt to coexist with other species. They could form bonds of trust and empathy that others couldn't even begin to imagine. Months later, the cub had grown into a formidable young predator. Yet its loyalty to Elena never wavered. It followed her on patrols around the station, stood watch outside her quarters, and even engaged in playful sparring matches with other cubs under her careful supervision. The official station records would later describe the cub's recovery as a miracle, but Elena knew the truth. It wasn't technology or genetics that had saved the cub. It was patience. It was empathy. It was the uniquely human ability to connect across the vast barriers between species. For the first time, many of the alien staff admitted something they had long suspected but never said aloud. Humans were UNG survivors in a hostile galaxy. They were extraordinary caretakers of life itself. The predator cub, once dying and alone, had found its strength, and the human who saved it had reminded everyone why humanity, despite all its perceived frailties, could inspire awe in even the fiercest of creatures. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.